قصف يا شباب.
Bombing, guys! New bombing! New bombing, guys! New bombing! The building is completely destroyed! New bombing, guys! Bombing! Get us out quickly! Quickly!
Hey everybody, Chuck Holton here. This is your quick update on the war in the Middle East for Thursday, July 17th, 2025. Israel launched its most intense bombing campaign in Syria in over a decade, and it targeted multiple regime military compounds across Damascus and its suburbs. Over 200 airstrikes. One of them hit the 4th Division's headquarters, hit some weapons depots, infrastructure near the Ministry of Defense and the General Staff buildings. Explosions were felt across the capital in Damascus. And down in southern Syria, Israeli warplanes were also bombing regime positions near Sweida.
The occupying forces aircraft conduct more than one airstrike targeting vehicles and forces of the Ministry of Interior, which had entered to secure people's lives and restore order and stability to the area. This is the targeting by preoccupation aircraft, which hinders the restoration of security and safety inside the Sweida area.
The Syrian forces had been carrying out door-to-door raids and executions in Druze neighborhoods. Now, locals report that some troops wore ISIS insignias during the attack. Meanwhile, Golani forces have been shelling the city of Sweida, and that further escalates the sort of siege of the city. Sweida's hospitals are shut down, roads are blocked, energy and water are cut off, and the region is really in a full-scale communication blackout. Tens of thousands of civilians are fleeing south toward the Jordanian border as food and medical supplies start to run out.
We are also operating in Syria today, since the morning. We have a commitment to keep the southwestern Syria area as a demilitarized zone on the Israel border. We will not allow a situation to return where a second Lebanon is established there, and we are also committed to protecting the Druze residents. We are doing this through intensive actions. I hope we won't have to take further action. It greatly depends on what is understood and both done and not done in Damascus.
Now, Wednesday, Syria's interim president, al-Jilani, said regime forces would begin withdrawing from Sweida.
I specifically mentioned our Druze people who are an integral part of the fabric of this nation. We assure you that protecting your rights and freedom is our priority.
The U.S. State Department confirmed it had urged Syrian authorities to de-escalate.
We are calling on the Syrian government to, in fact, withdraw their military in order to enable all sides to de-escalate and find a path forward.
Now, despite that announcement, opposition groups and the Druze leadership inside Syria are still skeptical of Damascus' intentions. Protests have spread beyond Syria, though. In Israel, there were thousands of Druze demonstrators gathered up near the border with Syria and actually crossing into Syria and trying to go help their brethren inside Syria. And at the embassy in Jerusalem, there were a few dozen protesters also from the Druze-majority that were accusing the Syrian regime of carrying out sectarian killings, calling on the American administration to stop engaging with al-Sharaa and other Syrian authorities.
It's the time to talk directly to the American administration, saying that it's not a business, it's not a deal. You cannot make a deal with a person that is a killer. That what he knows is only to kill people, and to kill people that are different than him.
Meanwhile, they think a breakthrough may be emerging in Gaza. Wednesday night, Hamas expressed its willingness to sign a comprehensive ceasefire and prisoner exchange deal and agreed to release 10 Israeli hostages. So that is progress. The sticking point here is that, like in previous rounds, that had been Israel's demand for a phased military withdrawal, which Hamas initially rejected. But Israel has now submitted a revised plan, and sources say both sides are closer than ever to a temporary deal. A senior Israeli official said the parties could reach agreement within 1 to 2 weeks. If a 60-day ceasefire is finalized, negotiations on a permanent truce could continue during that window. Now, Israel still insists that Hamas disarm as a part of any long-term deal and warns that if Hamas refuses, military operations are going to continue to incrementally grow across the Strip. The Palestinian Authority president, Mahmoud Abbas, has asked to participate in these talks and has argued that the PA should be involved in any future governance and security arrangements in Gaza. Washington has not responded to that. We'll see what happens. In Israel's own government, there's more instability. Wednesday, we reported that the ultra-Orthodox party had resigned from the cabinet, and that took Netanyahu's government down to 61 seats out of 120. Well, now another Orthodox Shas party ordered its ministers to resign from the cabinet, and they stopped short of exiting the ruling coalition entirely. So that technically keeps Netanyahu in power, but it leaves him even more dependent on the far right, which is going to make the negotiations with Hamas that much more difficult, because those guys want him to continue to prosecute the war in Gaza till the very end. So now he's down to like 50 seats in the Knesset, and we'll see what comes of that in the near future. So this morning I'm driving through the suburb of Tel Aviv called Bat Yam, and this is one of the places where there was a large missile strike, actually 9 people killed and a bunch more wounded, and 20 buildings are going to have to be demolished because they were damaged so badly. But even in this small suburb of Tel Aviv, I'm having a hard time finding the place where the damage is. I've been driving around the neighborhood trying to find the missile strike, and I can't find it. I mean, if you were coming here and didn't watch the news and didn't know there was a war going on, you'd have no idea from just driving around this neighborhood, even though this is one of the parts of Tel Aviv that was damaged the most severely by the Iranian missile strikes. So it just, again, kind of points out what a lie it was that so many pundits in the United States, like Colonel McGregor and Tucker Carlson, were pushing that Tel Aviv was 1/3 destroyed. So we found the site where the missile landed in Bat Yam. Funny, last night I got within about 400 yards of this place and had no idea it was even here. There was no damage where I was, but it was very hard to find this because it's a neighborhood tucked back in here, and you can see there is a significant amount of damage here in this neighborhood. A lot of windows broken and things like that, but they're already tearing down some of the buildings and starting to repair them. Over here on this side, there were a lot of windows broken out and things like that, but these buildings damaged, but won't need to be condemned probably or destroyed. They'll just be able to fix them up. So 9 people died in this strike. But again, I've driven all around this suburb of Tel Aviv, and it was very difficult to even find the place where the damage was. And so it just hopefully gives you a little better context of how this war has played out. All right, that's all I've got for right now. Thanks for watching The Hot Zone. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast, and don't miss our 1-hour live videos that we do every night. Sometime it's night over here in the States between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. or something like that, depending on my schedule. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.